Welcome back to Inside the Plant, brought to you by United Prairie, your source for real-world agronomy insights, fertilizer updates, and conversations with people out in the field making it happen every day. I'm Josh Rund, and today's episode is one that I've been looking forward to. We finished up planting season here in Central Illinois, and there's no better way to understand what's happening post-planting than to hear it directly from the grower. And the grower that we have today is also someone not just embedded in growing the crop, but also the technology and the innovation that goes into some of the equipment that we have out there. Today, we're joined by Casey Hettinger, a local grower and a manager here at Hettinger Precision. Casey, thank you for taking the time, especially during this kind of busier time of year, to sit down with us and have a conversation.
Well, it's pretty easy when we have all this rain.
I know, right? Yeah, all this wetness coming around. They're actually calling for more this weekend, too, on Father's Day of all days, when it shouldn't be raining. We should be outside having a good time. But
yeah, it's a little depressing, so I'm going to try not to talk about that too much. We don't have all of our spraying done, but what do you do?
I know, exactly. Well, and I'm hoping I've got a phone call or a message out to Jacob Dickey so we can get some more information about the weather and what's been kind of the crazy part of this season with all the wind and then the drought at the beginning, and then we got more rain than we even know what to deal with now. So I'm hoping to get some insight from him on a future episode when we talk here. But I guess, Casey, just start out by telling us a little bit about yourself, your family, and a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I farm with my dad and my uncle David on Hettinger Farms. We have quite a few employees that help us with the farm and with the Hettinger Precision business. So really what brought me back to the farm was my obsession with technology. When I was growing up, Dad didn't want to force me to farm, and so he didn't, and he did a really great job at that. So my actual degree is in audio engineering. I went to Nashville, Tennessee for that, and then I came back for a summer, and Dad said, hey, I started this precision planting business, and I think you'd really like it. So he started showing me some of the technology, and I started to fall in love with that, and it just went into everything I had been learning down in Nashville, because they're teaching you about signal flow and CAN bus networks and computers and things like that. So all of that actually translated to the precision planting business, and I came back and started running that precision planting business. And that's really kind of my history. We farm a large area around Champaign County, a little bit in Piatt County, and everything that we sell, we also run on our farm and we test it. And so with my obsession with technology, I also beta test a lot of things, not just the things I sell, but for instance, I'm beta testing like the new Apple software that's going to be on everybody's phone here come August, I believe, August or September. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about that, because I think there's a lot of technology coming that guys aren't expecting. And I think in the next 5 years, we're going to have a really big technology boost. And as much as I love it, I'm also terrified of it. And some of the things that I'm going to talk about today, I know guys will roll their eyes and they'll think, oh, he's crazy. But it is here now. And we may not have it in our hands, but it is here. And in the next couple of years, it's really going to boom.
Oh, yeah. I think the technology side and in your background in that is going to be a huge draw, and listeners are going to really want to hear what you've got to say there, because I agree. You know, I think back to the first time I used ChatGPT in an LLM and what it could do then versus what it can do today when I'm utilizing it and using it in things like Plod and Claude and all those different resources that are out there for everybody to use, and it's virtually free.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're beta testing an Apple software that's just included, right? That's going to be on people's phones, accessible to everyone who's got an iPhone or an iPad. And so that's what I think is nuts, is the free resources that are out there.
Yeah, and then you take those technologies and then you adapt them to hardware. So right now, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, whatever you're using, that is software. And there is just as much improvements on the hardware side. And when you marry those two together, they have a pretty drastic outcome. So first, I just wanted to talk really briefly about what you can expect here coming in the fall with your iPhone. So I'm running this beta. And how much do you use Siri on your phone?
Oh, I use it every day.
You use it every day.
Yeah.
So I was the same way. Dad and I both use it a lot. We use it to set reminders and things like that. But then as Grok and ChatGPT became so prevalent, I found myself opening those apps and using that instead of my Siri. And I was always getting frustrated because my vehicle literally can drive itself, but I can ask Siri to make a phone call and she can't understand the name that I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a frustrating. Or get directions somewhere and it takes you somewhere completely, wants to take you somewhere completely different. No, that's not what I told you to do.
Yeah, so what's coming is new Siri. And new Siri is going to run locally on your phone. So it's going to be kind of a hybrid. It's going to run locally on the iPhone. So a lot of that AI processing is going to be done on your phone instead of on a server, mostly for privacy reasons. And then when you ask certain questions, like questions you'd ask Grok, where it needs the internet, it will go out, search the internet, come back, and then process it on your cell phone. So one of the things it's going to do is it's going to have a personal awareness. So it's going to index your iPhone, and it is going to know what your text messages are, who your emails are to, what pictures you have on your phone. And that's the part that's a little bit scary, but I'm glad that they made it local.
Yeah, my heart rate just increased. If you can hear it through the mic, my heart rate is increased.
It is scary. But some of the capabilities that unlocks is I can say, hey, Siri, my mom sent me some information last week about a restaurant that she wanted reservations to. Can you look that up for me? And she will go through the text message, pull up where she wanted it, what date she wanted it, and present that all to you. And then you can just say, based off that context, okay, can you go ahead and put that in my calendar? It will go ahead and place that in your calendar automatically and search through anything it needs to document that in the calendar. The other thing you can do is say someone sends you a picture, and it's really difficult sometimes to go through that thread and scroll all the way back 2 weeks and try and find
Yes, amen. Yeah, finding an old picture is a struggle sometimes.
Yeah,
yes.
So I can say, hey, Siri, my wife sent me a picture of a coffee maker that she really liked a couple months ago. Can you pull that up for me? And she will go through your text messages, find the picture, and present it to you. And then she has context awareness of what's on your screen. So she will be able to, I say she, Siri.
I want, if there's an option, it's going to be a female for sure for me too. Yeah, I get you.
So that context awareness, she will look at the picture, scan the picture, search the internet, and show you the places that you can buy it. And then you can take it a step further and say, where's the cheapest place to buy it? And she'll pull up the Amazon listing, and then you can order it right there from your phone. So it's going to be an AI Siri that has the awareness of what you've been talking about throughout your phone. It all stays on your phone, is what they tell us at least. Mm-hmm. All stays on your phone. And I've been beta testing it for 2 weeks now, and it is the real deal. I mean, it's everything you wanted Siri to be. It now actually works.
Yeah, and I think that's great because like you said, the amount of times that I ask it to make a phone call, or a lot of times with me, Casey, it's directions. I want directions to a specific place. Like I was over in Peoria at the Civic Center, and I just wanted GPS to be out there as I was driving. I've been in the Civic Center 10,000 times, but I just like that it tells me when to turn. And getting it to find the Civic Center the first time I asked it to while I'm driving was a struggle. I had to pull over and then just type it in myself. I think the dictation side of being able to dictate to Siri instead of typing everything in that you want, I think that'll be a game changer.
Yeah, and so I actually did that last night. So we had a Farm Bureau meeting last night, and I'm just like you. I know how to get there. Obviously, I've been there a bunch of times, but I like to see the map. I like to see what time I'm going to arrive, so I know if I'm going to be late or not. So I said, hey, Siri, can you get me directions to the Champaign County Farm Bureau? She pulled up the directions, and then she goes, by the way, since our meetings are at night, she says, by the way, it may be closed when you get there. So she went onto the website, looked up their hours, and let me know that, hey, by the time you drive there, that building will probably be closed. Now, I knew that we had a meeting, so the doors would be open. But
did she say, by the way, there's more construction than we know what to do with up there, so I'm going to take you a weird way to get there because everything is closed now, and you just have to guess.
But on the way, you could say something of the sorts of like, I need gas. Can you add that to my stop? And she will add a gas station on the way to the stop and add it to those directions. So just a little heads up on what's coming. That should be here this fall. And it's pretty cool. It comes with some other things like picture editing, but I don't think a lot of us edit our pictures. So
No, at least not on my phone. Yeah, that's for Instagram to do for a lot of us, right, with our filters.
Yeah.
So, but I think that huge piece to Siri, and that's something that it's been missing. I agree. You know, with the chat GPTs and those LLMs now coming around, and the AI models coming around more and more, I think Apple's been very innovative in areas, and now they're trying to catch up. So I'm glad that they're pushing that way.
And they have the privacy track record to know that they can do it locally on the phone. And what the Groks and Chat GPTs are missing, and this is going to be controversial, but they're missing that personal context of who am I talking to, what do they like, what do they do, where do they go. And with Apple, they'll be able to tap into that because it's on your phone, and they have the processing power within the phone to handle it and not put it on the server.
Yeah. And in the LLMs, like the chat GPTs, they're limited. Like a lot of times, unless you pay the subscription fee, you're going to get timed out. You're going to want an image generation or a flyer generated or information generated, and it's going to time you out during the day. Like, hey, you've reached your limit.
Yeah.
Unless you pay the subscription, where Siri's not going to do that to you.
One thing I love about the LLMs, though, like Grok, Claude, ChatGPT, what I use it for the most is I will take a user manual, say of like V drives or something that I sell. I'll take that user manual, upload it into the ChatGPT or the Grok, and let it read the entire thing. And then I just talk to it about that product. So if I'm having trouble with that product, I can say, hey, I've got high amp draw on this V drive. What should I look for? And it'll say, you should go back to your V set and take out one of the spacers in between the plate and see if that solves it. And then you tell it, and that didn't solve it. It'll work. It'll troubleshoot through it because it knows it's read the manual. So people forget that you can actually feed those LLMs your own information or user manuals and then base your questions off of those.
Yeah, I think that's a great resource, especially for a local farmer or even, anybody. Honestly, a homeowner that's wanting to do more DIY stuff so they don't have to pay someone to do it, like uploading some of those things. Because all we do is I've got a drawer dedicated to those manuals, and it's in my garage, and it's hidden. I don't know where it is, but I find it every time I get a new manual. And so instead of me just hiding it in my garage, I should be doing that. I should be uploading that information to ChatGPT or to Claude to process that when I have to troubleshoot it. So, but that's, once again, that's understanding what the capabilities are of these LLMs and of the technology.
So another thing this is where I'm going to get some guys rolling their eyes at me, but I'm going to say it anyway. So another thing that is here, and they are doing it now, is going to be the robots. And so the robot that I'm most familiar with is called Optimus. And they have married the AI and the hardware together. And so essentially what you can do is you can get this robot, you can walk it over to your bench, and you can say, this is a hammer. I want to show you where it goes. You show it where it goes. This is a wrench. Let me show you where it goes. And you can do that across your entire shop. And then that Optimus robot can just walk around all day and pick up tools. It can clean the shop. The other thing that they are doing with it is you can be at home. Say you don't live at your shop, and I don't know if you're like me, but I am not going to have a robot in my house. So it is not going to.
I am 100%. Keys, that's where we're wrong. I would 100% have at least one, maybe two robots in my house for sure. Yep.
It lives in the shop, and now that shop locks from the outside instead of the inside.
Yeah.
It's not getting out there.
I've seen too many movies. Terminator is one of them.
So if you're like me, I don't live at the farm, but I can see a day, and they're doing this now, where say that robot lives in the shop, and with our Hettinger Precision business, somebody calls me on a Sunday, I'm not at the shop, I need to get them apart. I throw on an Oculus headset, which is a VR headset, and I remote control that robot to walk it upstairs, grab the part, and set it outside the shop door. And I don't have to come all the way to the shop to do that. You can actually remote control the robots and use them as your body whenever you're not actually there.
Yeah. And you could remote control that robot from technically anywhere that's got like internet service.
Yeah.
So like, it's not that you're at your shop because you're 10 miles down the road at your home. It's because you're on vacation down in Florida, and somebody needs something here, and you and your wife and your family are down there trying to enjoy some time away. you can remote in from there. That's wild to me, because there's another robot that's out right now that's in home use. Don't know how popular it is, but it's the same concept. It can do mundane household chore tasks, watering plants, picking up pillows and garbage off the floor, keeping things tidy. And if it can't do a task, you can call a number, and that number a human will remote into the robot in your home to do it. Now here we go. That's the eye roll. That's where they lost me.
Thank you.
I don't mind the opportunity for me to remote in, but I don't need a stranger to remote into my robot to take out the laundry or to change the laundry over or something like that.
And that's where I'm terrified of this stuff, because with the hackers and things like that, you just don't know. I mean, if you have a robot in your home, who else can access that through getting through your IP address and just taking it over?
Because a lot of them are getting access to cameras and things like that in houses now. And so people have got to set up firewalls to do those things. But just like anything else with technology, the upside has to outweigh the negatives that are there. And I think with the LLM technology and some of, like you said, marrying the software and the hardware together with robotics, the upside is going to outweigh the negatives that are going to be there.
Yeah, maybe not in my home, but at work, I'm all for it.
Oh yeah, Casey, you're going to have the robot in your shop, and I'm going to be like, there's 3 of them in my house, and they're all doing the laundry and dishes right now. So my wife and I are down in Orlando sipping a Mai Tai.
Meanwhile, I'm going to have customers calling saying, hey, I'm going to go to your shop and pick up a part. Is that robot in there? Or I'm not going to go.
Yeah, we have to put them in a suit or something, dress them in clothes to make them more appealing, right?
Yeah, so that was the Tesla robot that I was talking about.
Yes.
I also want to talk about, because it's kind of a hot topic right now, is the driverless cars and the full self-driving, which I'm also running. And I'm kind of using it as an experiment, because I'm not about electric cars because of the electric part. But when you have an electric vehicle, it unlocks robotic capabilities, because you have more control over the actuators and the motors than you would with a gasoline engine. And so the Tesla car right now can fully drive itself. Like I would comfortably go in and send it to Champaign right now here from Philo, and I know that it's going to get there safely and it's going to park itself in a parking spot. No worries. I do it every day. But some of the things I don't think farmers have thought about with this technology is how we can use it on the farm. So not necessarily just to have an electric vehicle or for it to drive you around, but what if you need to move equipment to a field and you don't have anybody else around? You can drop a pin on that field, send the car to the field, drive your combine out there, bring the car back, send the car back out, grab the auger cart, move the auger cart to the field, come back, grab your semi, and so on. You can send it to do stuff like that. Or let's say you're in the field and you broke down and you need a part from AHW or Berkey's or somewhere of the sort. You could drop a pin on Berkey's, call Berkey's and say, hey, I'm going to send my car up, just put the part in the back seat, and then it'll drive it back to the field for you. So maybe that part, you don't need to shut down the whole operation just to go get it. You could send the car after it to go get it.
Yeah, geez, that's why I didn't even think as soon as you mentioned, first of all, you're going to put my mom out of a job on our farm and myself. And so I wish that technology had been around 20 years ago when my dad we were having to haul equipment to Newman and Broadlands. And just to think about that side, I never thought about that ever until you just mentioned that right now. I was thinking about it with you, running parts, like you said, running a part from Hettinger Precision to a farmer's field, getting it there without you physically having to go. But yeah, that adaptability of, hey, I'm out here by myself, or I have limited resources to move equipment. Now I don't have to rely on it.
Justified getting the car, which is stupid because that's not why I got it. I just wanted it because I wanted to play with it.
Oh yeah, but we have to justify it in our mind too.
Yeah, gotta have a reason. Yeah. So really, the car is capable of that right now. It will do it 100%, but we're waiting on the legalities of it. And so right now, down in Austin, Texas, and a couple of other cities in Texas, they're doing that. There's nobody in this vehicle. It just drives around by itself. And we are waiting for the state of Illinois to legalize it so that we can do this. And I don't know how people are going to feel about that, but again, you got your upsides and your downsides. What I can say is I feel safer in Chicago traffic with my full self-driving on than me actually touching the wheel. And I actually had Jason Watson in the car with me, and we went to the Farm Bureau event up in Chicago, and it drove us all the way to Chicago. And I had it swerving in and out of traffic by itself and doing just fine. And we got into the city and we couldn't find the parking garage. And so I took over and I started driving. Jason leans over, he goes, "Hey, I'll be honest, I felt a little safer whenever the full self-driving was on." It's that good.
Yeah.
And it's so smart. It's got AI built in. So if I'm in Champaign and I'm driving down a road and there's somebody on the sidewalk and they're about to walk across the street, it will come to a stop. It will watch the person. If that person waves me on, it sees them wave you on and it will proceed to go.
Wow.
So it's not just going off of don't hit this, don't hit that. It's actually using AI and thinking about things, and it swerves around animals that run out in the middle of the road. If I come up to a construction site and they've got the stop sign up, it stops. When they rotate it to the slow sign, it goes slowly into the opposite lane, just like you would. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think our reaction time with animals running out in front or with in construction zones and there's people around, heavy, high speed traffic, a reaction time for AI versus a human is
quicker.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's not something that's up for debate.
It also sees 360 degrees. All we have are our rear view mirrors.
Yeah.
They can see 360 degrees around the vehicle. So if somebody's coming up from behind you and they're going to merge into your tail, it will move where you may not have saw that. It could have been in your blind spot.
Yeah, or your ability to see it in your rear view mirror, process it, react to push or to go is, takes sometimes seconds where it's the robots are doing it automatically.
I'm trying to play with that and see what are the applications here in farming that we can utilize that. And I think there's quite a few.
Oh yeah. Well, and like you said, just to start that transportation piece, if you've got farmers out there that are farming some acreage across multiple counties, moving equipment across multiple counties, it is, even if you have a hand or two to move it, having that vehicle that's like, hey, can you go stage this here? Or, hey, I'm going to end my day, at United Prairie, I'm thinking about, our guys and machines, we might leave a machine in a field or leave it somewhere. Well, I've got to try and coordinate, hey, I need 2 guys to take a truck here to drop one, bring one back. When in reality, it's like, hey, just tell that car to go there. Mm-hmm. And then there's no guys going, there's no wasted labor, there's no wasted fuel on 2 vehicles to get there, and that vehicle's left.
And, most days don't go as planned. So when you stage vehicles, you may not end up at that field. And so let's say you're 200 acres short of where you wanted to be. Well, now you just get on the app and you tell it to come back to this field, and then it's staged there too.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not moving guys again. So I don't know, Casey. We always end up right where we say we're going to. Always. I can't imagine that would ever happen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there'll be guys listening to this podcast. Well, I know there's a time I definitely did not
get to my field.
Yeah, that wouldn't let me where I was supposed to get it. But that's awesome. I love the technology piece. We went out as a group in January to the CES conference in Las Vegas, and the self-driving piece was the robotics and the self-driving and the automation was a big piece of that conference. And on the Vegas Strip, they had autonomous vehicles for that show that were running up and down. And there was no steering wheel. You got into this Zook vehicle, it was called, and Amazon bought them, and they were running free rides all across the Strip there in downtown Las Vegas. And there wasn't even a steering wheel in there to grab. You walked up, hit a button on your phone, opened the doors, you got in, and it took you where you wanted to go.
I love this stuff, but if I own that car, it better have a steering wheel.
Yeah, the front and the back were interchangeable. The headlights and the tail lights, you could just flop them and switch them, and wow. It was wild. Yeah, I took a risk getting in it, but like you said, it navigated around vehicles, understood the stoplights, all that kind of stuff. It was wild. I will agree with you.
So back to the farming world, whenever you marry AI and hardware, I know quite a few people probably saw my video on the sprayers a couple weeks ago here. So the See and Spray system, John Deere has a See and Spray system. I know you guys are running.
We do. Yep. We've got one up at Flatville right now, specifically that we've been running for a while now.
Yeah. So Precision Planting now is offering Symphony Vision. We have Symphony Vision Spot, and then we have Symphony Vision Duo. And it's similar technology. We have a couple more capabilities to our system. So our cameras not only see the weed, they see the weed 3-dimensionally. And so we actually use 2 cameras per camera, and there's 1 camera per 5 foot of the boom. And so since we can see three-dimensionally, we can actually size up the weed. And so I can program it to where I only want to spray a weed with a contact killer over 5 inches tall. So like on our farm, we're running Symphony Vision Duo. And so it's a dual boom, but it is not a true dual boom. It is your primary boom, which actually has your stainless boom. And then it has a secondary nozzle that has a 3/8 push to connect that runs to it. So we reduce a little bit of the weight on the boom by doing that. But what the big kicker is we don't have a dual tank. So if you want to spray a residual and then also spray a contact killer, on Deere's system, it's a split tank, and I'm not bashing on Deere whatsoever.
Sure.
They got a great system. With ours, we have the single tank. So we have a 1,200 gallon tank, and then we have 4 50-gallon concentrate tanks. So we'll load up with our residual, and then we'll take our straight concentrates, and we'll put, say, Liberty, Durango, Clethodim, whatever. You pick whatever you want for your contact killers. Those tanks then have a direct inject pump on them, and it is an in-house built precision planting pump that is extremely accurate because they couldn't find a direct inject pump that was accurate enough to do this. Those go to a mixing chamber. So coming out of your residual tank, it splits off. One goes to your primary boom, one goes to this mixing chamber, and we program, we say I want 8 fluid ounces of Diflex, or whatever contact you want. It goes into that mixing chamber and direct injects, which then goes out to the secondary boom. And so as you're spraying your primary residual across the field, whenever it sees a weed, it will change from your primary nozzle to your secondary nozzle, and the secondary nozzle carries the contact killers. So you can spray your residual at the same time as your contact killers. However, you don't reduce any efficiency because we're not filling 2 tanks all the time.
Yeah.
There's also some really cool things you can do with it too. Like last week we mixed a hot load that would kill really small weeds. And then nobody likes spraying dicamba.
No.
It gives you anxiety because you're
it's like a curse word sometimes. I feel like around the office.
And so what you can do is I told it, any weed that's above 5 inches tall, that's the only place I want to spray dicamba. And so really, I think I sprayed like 160 acres last week, and I used 1.63 gallon of Diflex. So I'm hardly spraying dicamba at all, but on those big weeds where I need it to really get that kill, I can program it to get that kill.
Yeah.
And the question for us was, does this work? And that is, these cameras are insane. I mean, they are seeing things. For instance, we had a customer and he was spraying, we loaded up with water after he installed the cameras, and we went out to see if it worked. We started bordering the field, and we look out and we're like, man, this thing is spraying a lot more than we think it should. We don't see any weeds. And so we get out and we go and we look on the ground, and the neighbor had mowed their grass, and the grass clippings flew into the field, and it was spraying the tiny little grass clippings.
Oh, so it's picking up that and differentiating that.
As small as a grass clipping. And so we've been spraying, Dad's been scouting anywhere we've been using that targeted spot spray. It's not missing, it's hitting. So it's really cool. You can also program it to spray, like with the Duo system, you can program it to spray by crop or weed type. So if you only want your contacts on a broadleaf rather than a grass, you can do that. I don't think we're comfortable doing that.
Yeah, and the camera can differentiate. That's wild. The camera can
differentiate. So even after canopy, after the crop is canopied, anything that sticks above the canopy, it can differentiate the difference between the leaves. So it's not just looking at, okay, this is a row of crop and here's a weed in between. It's actually looking at the light spectrum of the reflection of light off the leaf, and then the AI can determine what type of crop that is. Wow. So it sees the soybean instantly in real time.
In real time.
And you can pull the cameras up and watch it. It's
yeah, because you have a video. If you're listening to this and you're trying to put a picture in your mind of what Casey's talking about, if you go on to like Casey's social media or Champaign County Farm Bureau social media, there was a small video that was posted back in early June where Casey talks about that. And then you put a video of that. You can see actually the boom and the cameras going through the field and identifying the weeds.
weeds is red.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And the other beauty of this system is we can go on any sprayer. So you don't have to buy a brand new sprayer to have this. You can take, we've done John Deere 4730s. We've done some old Case Patriots that are over 15, 20 years old. We can put it on anything.
Retrofitted on there. And that's, I think, Casey, probably one of the best thing for some of our listeners and our farmers to hear is, with the farm economy, we've talked about this till like a dead horse, and beat it like a dead horse, I feel like, but trying to get the most bang for your buck out of the equipment that you already have. So not having to go out there and buy a new planter, buy a new sprayer to invest in some of this technology. Some of this technology is available as an add-on.
Yes.
To your equipment. And that's where Hettinger Precision and Casey can come in and help you streamline some of that stuff at your own farm. I think super important.
One of the things that we really try to focus on with our business is I can sell you these cameras, we can put them on, and you can go to the field and you don't understand a thing about it and you hate it. And so we always try to be in the field the first day they're going to use the technology so that we can help educate you on how to use it properly. We always answer our phones so that if you got a question on how to find a screen, we can help you get there. So a lot of this technology is just kind of overwhelming and you think it's going to be difficult to use. But I had a customer just 3 weeks ago and he calls me and this guy gets really excited. He's one of my favorite customers. He's really funny. He goes, Casey, you have changed my life. Casey, you've changed my life. This technology is insane. The crazy thing, Casey, is I thought this was going to be hard. It is easy.
Yeah.
He went on and on about it.
Oh yeah. Well, I guarantee you thought it was going to be hard because it's different, right? Change is normally difficult, right?
Yeah.
But man, once you adapt into it, man, it can really, like you said, it can change you.
Yeah. No, it's really cool stuff. I think the last thing I was going to touch on, because I know it's been talked about quite a bit in the industry, is seed orientation. And one of the reasons we've stuck with Precision Planting is that when they come out with a product, it may not be rock solid right off the bat. And the reason for that is because they are the most innovative companies in agriculture. They're always pushing the envelope and they're forcing the big OEMs to follow that footstep. And so when they came out with the V-Set and V-Drive, then all these OEMs said, well, now we need 100% singulation. We've got to space that good. We need hydraulic downforce. We need, so what I love about Precision is they are very innovative. And when they come out with a product, sometimes you need to iron it out a little bit, but they want to get it to market and start testing it on as many acres as possible. And they just keep pushing the technology forward. And so that's what I love, because I love new technology. I like beta testing. I like all of this new stuff. And one of the things that they've released this year is a new technology called AeroTube. And so AeroTube is going to have the capability to take the corn kernel, orientate it tip down in the furrow and embryo out. So it's going to grab the seed off the plate. And what they found is every seed has a center of mass. And so if you take a corn kernel and you put it in a piece of channel iron and you take a pencil and you push that seed, eventually that seed will flip into the right orientation because of its center of gravity, or center of mass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what it does is it grabs the seed off the plate. It goes into something called an accelerator, where it has walls that are shaped similar to channel iron, but they're shaped very specifically to where as it goes through the accelerator at a really high speed, it will flip the seed the right direction, and then it passes it off to what I call like a water slide, except there's no water. But because it goes down a water slide, if you think about going down a water slide, your body always stays towards the outside. And that's because of the centrifugal force.
Yeah.
So we orientate the seed, and then we use centrifugal force to maintain that seed orientation all the way down into the furrow. And then there's a small knife that creates a mini furrow underneath your main furrow to where it will stick the landing tip down and embryo out. So what this does for emergence is as soon as it germinates, that root will come directly out the bottom of the tip, so it doesn't have to curl around the seed and go down. And then when the plant comes up, a majority of them, since the embryo is out, they have found that embryo out is usually which way the leaves go. And so your leaves will go out into the row instead of with the row. And so They can do this about 60 to 70% of the time because seed size and seed shape is going to determine how well this works.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So they found certain hybrids they could do almost 90% of.
Yeah, because you're never going to hit 100, but
No.
getting the overwhelming majority is going to be a good.
And they'll refine it and stuff. But what they found is with a traditional seed tube or even a speed tube or an exact emerge, we were only doing it about 20 to 30% of the time just by luck.
Yeah.
And so 60 to 70% of the time will be tipped down, embryo out, leaves out in the middle of the row. And also, if you're a current speed tube owner, this will actually make the spacing even better than a speed tube, which was already really good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And so are you changing your planter speed then too? Do you have to slow down to make this work well? Or?
Because of the centrifugal force, we maintain the spacing, and we maintain it actually better than our belt system on the speed tube. So the VSET already singulates at 100%, and you can't get any better than 100% singulation.
Yeah.
And so we grab that 100% singulation directly off the plate, and then that centrifugal force carries that spacing down, whether you're going 5 mile per hour or 10 mile an hour. Or like my dad, whenever it's raining, 12 miles.
Get it in. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it will be a high-speed planting solution.
Okay.
And anybody who has VSET V-Drive can just slap a arrow tube directly underneath it. I think the first year they're going to be limited to John Deere row units. So the Maxi Merge and the XP row unit. Don't quote me. But,
Sure.
And then they'll be releasing more compatibility in the years to come. So
awesome.
I'm hoping to test that out next year, but they are going to be limited supply, and I've already had a bunch of customers asking for them. So I've got a list right now of who's asked me first, and those will be first come, first serve on
First
those.
come, first serve. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Sometimes, honestly, is who's the early bird gets the worm, right?
Yep.
So awesome. So Casey, thinking about technology that's available today for farmers and technology that you had on your planter this year and your sprayer as you finished up planting season and trying to get some spraying done, like we said, with the weather, what in your mind gives your average farmer the most bang for their buck if they want to enhance something like that?
Yeah, it is not the sexiest product, but it is the first thing that needs to go on every planter, and that is hydraulic downforce, especially if you're no-tilling. I have found I'm starting to dabble in the no-till a little bit, and what I found is I think there was a big boom on no-till maybe 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, that was a huge push. Yes,
and it didn't work very good, and I think a lot of that was due to the current technology. And so with hydraulic downforce, you will get the seed to 2 inches every time, or whatever depth that you set it at.
Sure.
And it's not the sexiest of products. Because really, like VSET V-Drive, that's the fun one where you get row by row clutching and perfect spacing. But I think over perfect spacing, downforce, and consistent depth is key, because that plant that emerges 2 days after the other plants is just a weed now, and it's not going to put on a kernel or an ear. So hydraulic downforce is becoming a must, and I understand in some conventional till situations, you can raise a crop just fine without it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's when you need it that you want to have it, and you're not always going to need it, but if you have it, you will always have good depth. And so that would be number one for me. Secondly, would be row by row clutching, especially if your fields aren't perfectly square, going in and out of headlands that are at an angle, clutching on and off. You can pay for that in seed savings alone over a couple of years. So row by row clutching. And then for the no-till guys, what I'm learning is furrow force is something that we sell. It's a 2-stage closing system that squeezes from the bottom of the furrow up. So it squeezes the air pockets up and out. And then the second stage is a rubber wheel that we actually have an airbag on to put pressure down to tap it back down. In no-till situations where your combine tracks are, a lot of times if you've got rubber wheels or even Yetter twisters, you can't close where the compaction is.
Yeah.
Furrow force is a no-tilling dream. It will close the
forces it to do it, right?
It
Probably it's right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It also deletes the sins of your downforce.
Okay.
So let's say you go into a field that's extremely wet and you set your hydraulic downforce or airbags or springs, and you set them way too heavy, and those gauge wheels create sidewall compaction. What you're doing with sidewall compaction is you're squeezing the oxygen out of the soil, and so then whenever your plant grows, it can't get through the soil, so you get hatchet roots, and your roots can't get out to get all the nutrients, and also the crop is not going to stand as well. With furrow force, I mean, even if I type in 150 pounds of downforce, my furrow force, since it squeezes from the bottom up, it fractures the sidewall and reintroduces oxygen into the soil. So in the past couple of years, we have not had very good planting date windows. And we kind of have to make those decisions of, it's a little wet, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's marginal. And you'll have dry dirt on top, and down where the seed is, you'll have muck, and it's just really sticky. And so what furrow force will do is actually you can plant it and break up that compaction after you've already planted it. The downside to furrow force, though, is it is a rock rake, and it needs to be managed. So we have ways to mitigate that, but it does like to catch rocks. Just one of the things I tell the guys. But I think the big boom coming is going to be the sprayer technology, because we've got quite a few guys running it now, and I haven't heard a bad thing about it yet. And the guys we have running it are saying they're saving about 40% on chemicals. I tell guys 30% to be a little more conservative. But if you own a sprayer right now and you want to adapt this onto your sprayer, if you take your overall chemical bill and subtract out 30%, you're going to pay for those cameras quickly.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big deal. And especially since we have the ability to do a residual and contact killer now, I think that's going to open up a lot more opportunity, because some guys will say, well, that's great, I can go out and spot spray, but I need my residual. I can't do without that. So I think there's going to be a big boom there. And I'm telling you, it's sitting out there right now. It works.
Yeah.
There's no question about that anymore.
That's awesome. Well, and like I said, if you want to look at a video of that, check out Casey's social media. Champaign County Farm Bureau's got the video up to get a real life look at that and see that technology out there.
Yeah. Before we end, I wanted to get a plug in here. So I do a lot of work with Champaign County Farm Bureau and with the Champaign County Farm Bureau Foundation, and we have a new program called Foundation Farmers. And so if you're not familiar with what the foundation does, the foundation is kind of like our bridge between the rural areas and the urban areas. And we got Sarah Caper and Julie Adcock out there educating children about what's going out on the countryside, how their food is grown. But they're also going to places like WCIA, and they're getting in front of viewers that live in town. And they help educate the town people that what we're doing, what we're spraying, what's going on. And Foundation Farmers is a program that's going to help us elevate that program so that they can be our voice. And so what it is basically you take 1 acre of your farm and you donate it to the foundation. And that looks many different ways, but essentially we figured out that $1,000 is essentially 1 acre of profit. And so we're trying to get this group together, and we meet maybe once or twice a year, and it's a group of farmers who are supporting the foundation. We have a dinner, and you get a hat and signs to label yourself as Foundation Farmers. And I really want it to be kind of like a club. I think it'd be cool because we have so many things going against us in the world right now with all our fertilizer prices and, just politics and everything like that. The last thing we need is for farmers to be in competition for each other. I think that era needs to end. I think we need to stick together as farmers. And so I thought it'd be kind of cool to have like a club for farmers where we can get together. And this money is going towards ag in the classroom. It's going towards helping students get their CDL or helping them get through the diesel program, things like that.
It helps fund future agronomists. Yeah, Casey and I are on the foundation board together here in Champaign County, and we gave over $80,000 in scholarships to students that are going to further their education in agriculture, whether that's at a career and tech ed school, one, like Casey said, get a CDL or get their any kind of current tech ed, applicator license, things like that, and all the way up to students going to four-year schools to get a degree in agronomy or crop science.
And when you become a foundation farmer, whenever you come to these events, you get to meet the people that you're actually helping. So these students are going to be there. If you want to talk to them, try to hire them for the future, it's just a great cause. So
yeah, those students are actively involved in what we do with the Farm Bureau.
We don't have the time to educate the public about what we're doing and telling them that we are doing our best to do the best practices for the environment and that we're stewards of the land. And that's what the foundation does for us. And so we need the foundation to be our voice for us.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Sarah and Julie do a great job. Once again, it's easy for us in the rural parts. I live in Tolono. It's easy for me to go to Unity or Unity West and Unity East and the high school and go to St. Joe and go to Monticello. It's easy for us to get into those places that have ag teachers, that have FFA programs. But it's the inner city schools, the Champaign Centrals, Centennials, the schools in the other part, Rantoul schools are sometimes difficult for agriculture to get into. And that's where Sarah and Julie shine. They get into those schools, they get students understanding and have an appreciation for agriculture, and get our voice out there.
And the thing is, we can do more. So Ag in the Classroom right now is maxed out. So when we open the doors for signups so that teachers can sign up to get Ag in the Classroom, it sells out within 24 hours. And they have to say no to some classrooms, and they have to say no to events. And so we'd really like to build up that program a little bit more and get a little bit more capacity.
Yeah, if we could have multiple Ag in the Classroom teachers full time, our ability to reach those more urban areas would double.
Yeah.
And so, like Casey said, that Foundation Farmers is a major piece to helping that program grow, and they do. I mean, it's an elite. It's a nice club. It's not necessarily elite, but it's a club of farmers. It's a nice dinner that we go to with entertainment, with the camaraderie in that room. And then, like I said, everybody's got the shared goal of building the ag message.
Yeah.
So
if you're interested, you can contact the Champaign County Farm Bureau office and talk to Shanna or Kirk. You can give me a call. You can go to hettingerprecision.com to get my phone number or my email. But yeah, it's a great program. So I wanted to get that plug in here.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, Casey, I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, like I said, being involved in our community is a big part of the ag world too. And I've had a great time here. Casey invited me over to his family farm and got to sit down with him to talk about technology, what's coming, the way that they utilize that with Hettinger Precision here. And we really appreciate his business at United Prairie and his dad's business and his family. And have for a very long time, and will continue to. And so, Casey, I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me here today and talk to our growers. And yeah, I just had a really good time visiting with you. So thank you very much.
Awesome.
And for everybody listening out there, this is exactly what Inside the Plant is all about. These real conversations, real decisions, and real insights from the field and with technology. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe and share it with someone else out there that you know. We'll be back soon with another episode from United Prairie of Inside the Plant.